And as part of the international observers invited to provide accompaniment to Venezuela's parliamentary elections on December 6, we now received the Secretary General of the Revolutionary Party of All People of Kenya, Mark Anthony Glasby, also known as Sobuke Shukura, who is also a poet, a cultural advocate, and a Pan-Africanist intellectual. Hello, Sobuke. Welcome to From the South.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having us. Yes.
We are super pleased to have you here with us. So, Sobuke, being an intellectual, a peace advocate, and also a political activist, under your consideration, what's your role as an international observer for the parliamentary elections in Venezuela?
Well, our role, as we see it, is to confirm that the elections are free and clear, to counteract the propaganda that has been waged against Venezuela over the years about its elections, and so we want to establish what has been really established among many of us already, that the elections in Venezuela are some of the cleanest and some of the most well executed elections on the globe. So we want to be here to have firsthand knowledge, and not just to be reading it, but be able to witness the firsthand knowledge that the elections here are going to be free and fair. We also know, of course, of being someone of African descent, someone who was born in the U.S., seen so much suppression of the electoral process, and particularly among the African and indigenous and poor people in the United States, want to observe for ourselves an election that can be that can serve as an example to the rest of the world, instead of being propagandized as a process that is not free and fair. So we're here again to witness for ourselves and to be able to share with the world that these elections are probably going to be some of the most clean, most accurate, and most productive. As you can see, just from our experience, that people here are encouraged to vote, and it's made easy for people to vote, to carry out the vote, and to do it in a secure reality. And that's pretty good in a situation where there's so much outside interference from the U.S. and its allies in trying to, again, overturn the current government of Maduro.
So, considering your political background, your political activism, how do you consider internal and foreign political forces can try to exert pressure and also to siege to affect the normal development of this democratic process?
Well, it's amazing to me that we have a country like the U.S. and the so-called countries like the European Union, and those countries, even in the Caribbean, that have found themselves on the side of the U.S. in terms of trying to delegitimize the voting system and the electoral system here in Venezuela. We are amazed that these countries who call themselves the most democratic, when we really look at their voting systems and the way that their systems run, they're not really democratic at all. When we look at the U.S. and we have the two-party system that is basically one party, a capitalist party, and we look at this whole mess that we've just seen, or seeing, I should say, it's not entirely over, where you have an institution called the Electoral College, where the popular vote is should have already decided the election, since the election, the Biden won by according to the elections, won by 5 million popular votes, but he still has to worry about whether or not uh, an electoral college of people who are not elected by the people will decide who is the next president. This shows that there have never been that this process is corrupt. And of course, if we look at the history of the electoral process in the U.S., we'll know that at the founding, at the writing of the so-called Constitution in the U.S., allowed to vote were rich Europeans, rich settlers from Europe. The class European could not even vote. Women could not vote. And of course, the Africans who were enslaved and the indigenous population who had been stolen could not vote. Democracy in the U.S. and has actually only came about through the struggle of the masses of the people. Every step forward has been a struggle, a hard-fought struggle of the masses of the people. Democracy in the U.S., that it is any democracy in the U.S., is totally comes from the blood, sweat, and tears of the masses of the people who have demanded at least the right to cast a vote even. Democracy, uh, the democracy that we are finding here and the emerging countries like Venezuela, in Cuba, were participatory democracy, where everybody is encouraged to vote, not suppression, is an example that all of us must admire. Anybody who has any consciousness of what democracy means uh, or what democracy should be knows the only way forward in terms of a democracy that is meaningful is that a democracy that gives more and more and more power to the masses of the people, that encourages the people to vote, that encourages people to not only vote, but to participate on a regular basis. This is the democracy that we really want to see in the world and on the globe. A participatory democracy, a democracy of the people, a democracy that understands that democracy even goes beyond the vote. The democracy goes to the question of how the level of development of the people, how a government puts into hands the material wealth of the society to the people, how the people fare. Because we understand that the question of human development should be the objective of any democratic process. I'm saying, how do the people decide how resources are going to be used? Whether how, like here, we found the use of money from the oil revenues over the years to build houses, to develop the health, develop education for all, not for just one class. This is really the democracy and actually implementation, going beyond just the vote. It is the implementation that the resources are democratically used within a nation. This is what makes Venezuela a standout democracy. Not only the process that we witnessed, of the process of democracy in terms of being able to have one of the cleanest, one of the most accurate voting systems on the planet. That the democracy that goes beyond that, the implementation of that democracy, is what we have observed over the years, and now we're being able to witness it firsthand. And this is what really impressed us who are struggling for the same thing and the rest of the world. As a Pan-Africanist, of course, we want to see in Africa, the democratic processes are in the hands of the people. A united Africa, which will again advance the people's not only their ability to vote, advance their ability to develop higher and higher standards of living,
Yes,
so
Mark.
that everybody. Yes. All right.
Say.
We'll stop there. Thank you.
No, no, we're not going to stop. You have been super accurate describing maybe some social phenomena associated to other countries' elections. But in this case, can you please describe for us, such as you are our eyewitnesses, you are our describer person now, can you describe the current ambiance, the prevailing atmosphere in Venezuela?
Well, we've just got here, but with what we have observed so far is again, you know, the society is moving forward, and we want to stop first and uh, the organizers of the election commission, uh, for its thorough protection and really taking care of us, making sure that our is number one, making sure that taking every safety precaution that there can be to make sure that we are that we're protected from COVID-19, and making sure that our comfort is taken care of. We want to thank the Venezuelan people, and of course the government, and certainly the commission for taking all the necessary steps to make it comfortable for us to do the job that we came here for. Certainly, it's been great to see that there are the members from other parts of the world uh, will come and to and I'm sure in a few days when we're all coming to, we'll have a better time coming together, and I mean, a more opportunities to come together. But right now, again, we're being isolated so that we can make sure that our health is good. We're being isolated a little bit so that we can make sure that we're not bringing any infections from any other place in the world. Because the government is certainly not like in the U.S., concerned with the health of the masses of the people, and concerned with the health of the people that they brought in to help witness this historic occasion. We're at a crossroads in the world. It's very important that we understand that it's not one country in the world like the U.S. that can determine the situation in terms of whether something is free and fair. Mm-hmm. In fact, they've been noted to recognize throughout this region countries that have had coups, like in Honduras. They were fast to recognize the coup. They came to try to discredit through the Organization of American States. They came to try to discredit the victory in Bolivia almost a year ago. The victory of MAS, the mm-hmm. party that was brought back to power by the overwhelmingly 51% of the vote on this last election. The U.S. has shown that we need the world needs observers that are objective, observers from parts of the world that are not tied and not afraid to look at and examine for themselves, yes. As Malcolm X told us, to yes. read for ourselves, to learn for ourselves, to be able to look at the world for ourselves. We really need on the same level as participatory democracy. All of us around the world are part of that. All of us mm-hmm. who come as observers, truly people's observers, are part of building the participatory democracy around the world.
Okay, thank you, Sobuke. Seriously, thank you for your participation in our mission, and also please be back in another broadcasting from the South.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the work you do. Thank you for this great media that you're doing, and it's a service not only to Venezuela but to us all. Thank you.